7 years later, when my stepson was shot, then I became angry. And I was angry with God. Me and him was over. I had had enough of you. I had enough of everything. First of all, in 2018, my house was sprayed with bullets. 18 bullets flew through my house. 2020, another 8 came, shot my son, but he survived. 2020, my other son comes back, and he's dead. What do you want from me? And I will never forget, when I got up off that floor, I was the most peaceful and the most happiest person in jail. Because I was free mentally, even though I was behind bars. My mind, something happened. Something happened to me when I surrendered it all to God. Something happened. We decided to go to these tent meetings, and they asked who wants to get baptized, and I never forget that. I had this urge, and I just jumped up, and I went running up the front, and then I realized, oh no, Nikki, what have you done? Everything went in the heels. I went on the house. I told Sky and Zachary, your brother's been shot, because been shot. We run out to the shop. The ambulance had just taken him. The boys decided to stay in. Come on, let us know. We can't go down there. And I go down there. Me and Miss Otterbury just looking at each other. Highly, it's this her son, neighbors. And then this mayor came in to see family of Otterbridge. Sorry to see he didn't make it. And that's when God spoke to me. I heard him so clearly. He said, you asked me of 2 things, a forgiving heart and a peace of mind. I have granted you both. Do not look back. There is hope. There is hope. And that's what I had very little of. But until I met Jesus Christ, then and only then did I find hope.
I've come to a place where I can be silent no more. As a practicing physician, an associate pastor, and a son of the soil, the questions that I'm hearing are deafening. What is going on? But I heard Martin Luther King Jr. say, only when it is dark enough can you see the light. The world is in a difficult place, but Bermuda is in a worse place. For we're so small and the changes are so large. Every now and then you need to find somebody who's been through something so devastating that they almost couldn't come back. Somebody who's been so hurt that only hell is worse. Somebody who has the tattoos, the scars, and the story, and has the strategies of survival to guide us as a people out of our hole. This is State of the Nation, and tonight we have such a person. Her name is Ms. Nikki Fox. She will be our guide to give us light in our dark path. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Dr. James.
Nikki,
Yes.
before it all fell apart, tell me, who was Nikki and what was she like?
From what I heard, I remember growing up in a household. I remember being so loved by mom and dad. Although my household was very toxic, I didn't even understand how toxic it was until I got older. But I was loved by both parents. I was loved by both parents. And I thought my household was normal. But unfortunately, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom drank a lot. They partied a lot. They fought a lot. They got divorced, lived in the same household, in separate bedrooms.
And
Didn't
Nikki,
speak. And I got up and went to school every day with a smile on my face because it was normal. Like, I was used to that. Me and my brother, And we just went on with our lives.
And what did you guys do for fun?
Well, we left home. We got in a lot of trouble just hanging out. But basically, we rode our bikes, we played cards, we listened to old music. My mom was a country and western girl. She loved country and western. So at one of my birthday parties, we played Coward of the County, and, you know, we just done stuff like that. I had these two other good friends, and I have them up to today, and we make up dances to country and western music, and just, you know, had fun. And then came a point where I started stealing these cigarettes.
Right. So, what was your vision of your future when you was a little girl? What did you see for Nikki?
Just to be happy. When I think back, I didn't say that I wanted to be anybody really big. I just enjoyed being happy, because at times in my childhood, I wasn't happy. I was dark. When my mom and dad would fight, when the alcoholism would take over. Some of my days as in my childhood was very dark. So the days that I were happy, I think what I wanted my future to be was just to be happy. So I didn't think no further than, I hope tomorrow that I'm happy instead of sad.
And when did things shift? When did the calls from the dark whisper in your ears and you couldn't say but no?
I would say when I was about 13, 14, I had already started stealing my mom and dad's cigarettes. I had already started drinking the alcohol, sneaking it from them, and started getting into smoking weed at 14. Thought it was okay. I had an older brother that was also doing the same thing. So I would hide it even from him. And as I got older, the drugs got harder. And when I think back...
How old were you at that time?
Okay, at 18 I was smoking cookie. Even before, 17, 18 I started smoking cookie. And I had my first son at 19. And I'm pretty sure at the age of 21, I was smoking cocaine every day. So I would consider when I think back, I would have considered myself a full-blown addict at age 21. I didn't work. My full-time job, I couldn't keep a job. My full-time job, I got high every day.
So what did you start with? You didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to start on crack cocaine.
No, I started with weed, marijuana, alcohol, cigarettes, alcohol, marijuana, cookie.
Do you remember the first line that you took?
It wasn't a line, it was a road in a joint.
Can you tell me about that?
I was with a boyfriend of mine, and I thought it was weed. And I picked it up and I started, he had left the room, and I decided to take my first. I said, I have a draw of this. And it tasted completely different. And I remember him coming into the room and getting so angry with me. Tell me, don't touch that no more. But by that time, I'm like, I need more of that. And so I watched them. And then eventually, I started using. I started rolling my own, finding people to get it for me, and found some, group of my friends. And we just started experimenting. And that was the beginning of a dark, dark world.
If you could go back to that Nikki and talk to her now, what would you tell her?
Be prepared to lose everything. Be prepared to lose everything. Be prepared to lose morals, self-respect, your choice in what sex that you want. Be prepared to have no control over absolutely anything. Be prepared to be a mop that anybody could use you at any given time. be prepared to be stripped naked, beaten, raped, and abused. Because if that's the road you're going to go on, that is exactly what you will experience. See, when those people came to my school and doubt Whitney, I didn't hear that. No one told me that. Everyone said, don't use drugs. Ronald Reagan, this is your crack in the egg, this is your brain on crack cocaine.
Yeah.
But that is what adults tell children. That is what you are all supposed to tell me. I didn't hear real life stories and what to prepare myself for if I choose that word, but I'm here to tell you, that's the word, that's who you will become. You won't have no choice in what sex you choose. You will be beaten, you will be raped, you will be abused, and you will be mopped up. I've been through it all. But no one told me that that's what would happen to me if I did it.
Would that have changed things?
I think so. I think that, well, I don't know, I cannot say. But I don't think I would have lasted so long out there. Maybe if I did try it, did I use it, I always would, because when something is said to you, whether or not you react to it right away or a week later, but it has already been planted. And once that seed is planted, it does take life if you give it. If you give it a chance, that seed will grow. So but that wasn't planted in me. It was just, don't use drugs. You're gonna lose your mind.
Yeah.
But I lost more than my mind.
So what did you lose internally? How did it feel being out there? What did you feel
Dead.
like?
Dead. Lifeless, useless, existing, not living.
So when you saw people that you knew, how did they treat you? What was that like?
Turned the other cheek. Family members walked on Coursey Street. No one had nothing for me. I didn't have nothing for me, so I didn't expect them to. But I convinced myself I was okay until I wasn't.
So when did you have your first child?
At 19.
Tell me about that experience.
This one's a hard one for me because that's my first one that one I lost.
What was his name?
His name was Rico Robert. I was dibbling and dabbling in cocaine, and when I got pregnant, I had stopped using. You know, he formed in my stomach. I remember going to the doctor and him saying, you can't be pregnant because I didn't look it. Yeah, this one's a hard one. But, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I remember continence tears.
That's what.
I remember looking continence fingers into tan. But I'm here to tell you that because of my addiction, it's another thing you should prepare yourself for if you plan on going down the road of addiction and have kids. My addictions were still stronger than my desire to be a mother. So as much as I tried to be a mother to them, my addiction still got the best of me. And then eventually, I was going again, and my mom had him.
How old was he when you separated?
Well, I was always in and out of his life, because I lived with my mom. But early months. He was a couple of months old when I decided to choose drugs again.
Okay.
Because I didn't think it was going to happen to me again. But this time I'm going to control it. This time I've got a child, I've got a purpose to live for. It's going to, change my mind. But the use got strong and the drugs got stronger. Until I could no longer take care of them. Full time.
Good morning. And then, was that the only child that you had?
No. And then, 4 years later, I had Skaya. I called him my miracle baby. I planned on having him.
Mm-hmm.
I said to his dad, stop taking the pill for a month. And if I got pregnant, then we have this baby, and if I don't, I'm going back on the pill. And I got pregnant. And needless to say, the cycle repeated itself. I lived with his dad for a little while. If I had him, Rico, and his dad, we lived together for a few years. Mm-hmm. But even while living with his dad, I was still a using addict. Mm-hmm. And trying to be a full-time mom. But I was still using. Until my mom said, okay, I've been to until I can't do it anymore. And she said, okay, I'll take them.
The second one?
Yes, both of them. So she took both of them. We went to, she says, Nick, I know you're getting high, I know you're using drugs, very bad. And I'm worried about my grandchildren. I don't want them going in the system.
Then?
Can it happen? Can you release them to me?
Yeah.
And I said, sure, Mom. She says, whenever you get your life together, you can have them back. I don't want to keep your children from you, but I don't want you to lose them. And I don't want them to be separated. And so we went to court. The papers were signed. And I went on about my life deep in addiction.
Losing pieces of yourself.
Every time. Walking away from a part of me each time.
So you lost attachment, ability to love, to feel valuable, to belong.
More and more, yep.
To feel.
Yep.
And I think about your life, I think of the country, Bermuda.
We do.
A beautiful island with great visions and dreams, but somehow got caught up in an addiction.
Yeah.
And its children are being lost, dismembered. People like you, people like me. Would you say that this system, did it help? Did it harm? Because it wasn't just you, you're in a bigger culture, in a community, in a country.
I wouldn't say, see, when you're in a toxic mind, I wasn't thinking of the system. I didn't know the system. I wasn't asking the system for anything. I just need everybody to leave me alone so I can get high. And 7 years later, I came up pregnant again.
A third time.
I ended up marrying his dad. 7 years later, I ended up, and after having Zachary, his name was Zachary, his name is Zachary, my mom said to me, Nick, let me take him also. Because she could see that I still wasn't ready. She says, I'll keep them underneath the same roof because I want these boys to know the brothers. These are my grandchildren. And she took that one also.
So you, Miss Bermuda, which is what I'm going to call you, for beautiful dream as a young person, great possibilities
Just
together.
be happy. Be loved. But
And life got rough.
Yeah.
You got caught up in something. You began to lose sight of you and those around you, and it kept going. It didn't. The first,
as a matter of fact, I didn't even know who I was.
you lost sight of yourself.
Yeah. I lost everything. Everything.
But there's always seemed to be someone there reaching in, saving things, keeping things.
Yep.
So the third son, Zachary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me about that one.
I was pregnant with him, and I was using in denial that I was pregnant. And my mom, she had this beautiful mom. She's just sharp. She sent someone at a crack house where I was, and she asked them to bring my daughter to me, please, because she had heard I was pregnant. So I'm thinking, and the person she sent is my other son's dad.
Oh, the second son's dead.
Yes, I was dead. I'm sick. I think you called. So when he came, I automatically went. Like, he said, yeah, okay. He's like, come on, Nick, let's go for a drive. I'm like, all right, cool. And he took me to my mom's, and I looked at him, and he says, your mom wants you. So I got out of the car. I remember walking in our house, and she said, go get a bath. And you go sleep in the boys' room. And you got an appointment up at the clinic tomorrow morning. And so I went to my appointment. And of course, you have to tell them that, you've been using drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Stay clean. Live with my mom. Never went back out. Then it was time for, after I had Zach, social services came on. And me and baby was drug-free. Zach had no drugs in his system, neither did I. And that's when my mom says, okay, Nick, I don't know what your plans are, but if you have any plans to get back out, and social services is already in the picture. Let me take this one. And
So this is baby number 3. And this time you're willing to somehow make a change.
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay.
It's crazy, isn't it? I did, at that time, when Zachary was 18 months, my husband and I, we decided to get baptized. We was invited to a tent meeting up at Berkeley. He was a Seventh-day Adventist. Because my husband's mom and he were Adventists, so we was invited. And I decided to take my mom with me. So now me and my husband's clean. We have this little boy and
How you got
3 of them. Well, we had just stopped using it at that time.
I know.
We had stopped using it at that time, and decided, we surrendered to God. So we decided to go to these tent meetings, and they asked, who wants to get baptized? And I never forget that. I had this urge, and I just jumped up, and I went running up the front, and then I realized, oh no, Nikki, what have you done? And then after that, I saw my mom come up, and then I saw my husband come up. And right at the tent meeting at up at Berkeley, Pastor Famous Maury, yeah, he baptized me, my mom, and my husband went on in the tub in the water together.
Is that right?
And we came back up, and I thought I was on my way. I started being wanted to be an usher in the Seventh-day Adventist Hamilton Church. Me and my husband, we went regularly. We went, we talked about marriage. We got married. You know, famous married us. It was beautiful. But I hadn't done any healing. All of a sudden, I'm a mother of 3 children. Full-time mother of 3 children. I'm like, where did they come from? I didn't know what to do for myself, let alone them. And I got to be fed 3 times a day? I was like, what? And then I got a husband. Then I got this mother-in-law. It was just, I was like, what the? Where's all these people coming from? No, honestly. But it's funny now when I think about it. But it was almost close to a nightmare for me.
They overloaded you?
What? Everything had just happened too quick. I got these children back, then I got this man over here. I ain't even sure if I know him, because I just know him and married to him in addiction. You know what I mean? But anyway, it did get overwhelming. Instead of me reaching out and asking for help, it must have been overwhelming for my husband too, because one night he just said, he looked at me and I looked at him. I knew exactly what he was thinking. And we had been clean and married for a couple of years now. And we both relapsed together.
So what led to the relapse? What could have, if you could talk back to her now?
I don't know.
Did you need support?
I really can. I don't, yeah, because I never got the help for even why I started using.
Okay, so baptism is one thing.
Baptism's one thing, but I still had to do some internal work.
Discipleship.
Right. I still had to do some internal work, and I hadn't done that.
Okay.
You know, I was hearing all this nice stuff about God, but inside I still felt very dirty.
Inside you still felt very dirty.
Yes.
So you had
and unsure if I can even live before the stuff around me. Like, what are these people?
There are 2 parts to it, right? You felt condemned.
Yes.
You still felt like you're not.
I still felt right. I still right.
So what was driving your relapse was the way you saw yourself.
I think yes. If I have to say that, yes.
So being baptized
and then,
was a good start,
yes.
but you still had to deal with how you saw yourself.
Right.
Mm.
So the recovery had to go deeper.
Okay.
And I was learning, I had, like, you know, and I'm going to say it because I felt like when I'm going to church, like, and it was so much not to do wrong, like, you know, my thinking, I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't be thinking like this. Like, it was just overwhelming.
So the rules.
It was just right. It was the rules, like, don't do this, don't do that.
There's good rules.
Good rules, but I couldn't handle them. I wasn't used to rules, period. And then I was like, I never felt I could measure up. I never felt like I could measure up to the standard. I didn't feel that. And that's because I was still broken inside. And I needed some work on myself. But I never felt, mind you, I felt a lot of support. The church did give me a lot of support. I must admit, they took me in Clark underneath their wings and they shared us, they nurtured us. But I still felt like I didn't belong there. Something was definitely missing. And I want to say maybe because even though I got baptized, I hadn't surrendered. And I think that was the part I was still holding on to. I didn't know how to surrender. I didn't even know you had to. I just learned a lot of do's and don'ts and a lot of stuff about God, but I never knew that I had to surrender. Not just the drugs, but everything that's inside of me that is not of Him. So although I got baptized, I never surrendered. And that's why I felt I could never measure up, because I was doing it in my own. I was doing it in my own will, and my own thinking, my own strength. And that's why it failed. And I think surrender was the key. Once again, after I went to jail twice, the second time in jail, I think was one of my first or second spiritual awakenings. I remember going to jail. My dad had just died, and the bailiffs came and took me to jail the very next day. And I had been up prior to that for about a week or so. So I was very tired. So I went to jail, and I was sleeping, doing a lot of sleeping. My husband was also locked up. They locked us both up together. He's over at the farm. I'm at women's prison. And I remember after they put me with regular population, back in population, because they kept me on remand by myself so I can dry out, clean up, and, So when they put me over there, I remember one night, I actually heard the slam of a door on jail cell. I've heard it close enough times. I've been there my second time. So that door closes every night like that. But I will never forget the first time I actually heard it. And then that door slammed shut. I remember falling to my knees and crying like I have never cried before. And I asked God, I told God, I have nothing left in me. I surrender it all. I never knew that word before. I didn't know what made me say it. I just said I surrender everything because I didn't want to remain the same. And I will never forget, when I got up off that floor, I was the most peaceful and the most happiest person in jail. Because I was free mentally. Even though I was behind bars, my mind, something happened. Something happened to me when I surrendered it all to God. Something happened. All I know is that I was okay being right there. I was happy because that's the place that I have found my happiness. So I was okay. As a matter of fact, I was frightened to leave jail. I was frightened. I didn't want to leave. I'm like, where am I going? Can you put me in treatment? And that's like, treatment facility is moving, so I'm not taking on no new girls. I said, well, what am I going to do? They said, I don't know, but your time's up. You got to leave her.
Wow. So now you've started a new journey.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful one at that.
Encountered with Christ.
Uh-huh.
And the devil would have it, when you start on a new journey, tragedy comes again. So tell me about the sons who may have fallen along the wayside.
Okay, so I come on to jail for the second time, and I have just awesome relationships. Like I said, I have this mom that allowed me to resume my position.
Hey.
She allowed me to resume my position as their mother. Like, what kind of eggs they eat? I'll never forget asking her. She says, why you asking me? Ask them. Nikki, they're your children. Learn them. Get to know them. Get to know if they're yours. I only had them because now that you are on your feet, they are yours. Resume your responsibility as a mother. I had no problem with that with my mom. She just automatically allowed me. So it was
Were you very respectful to your mom?
Yes, always. Always. Even years of my addiction, I never cursed her out. I only went to her when I wasn't high. I never asked her for money. I never said, give me my children. I allowed her, because I watched my mama struggle from addiction, even from a distance, with my 3 children. And she struggled raising those boys by herself.
Bam.
And I was out there doing myself. I couldn't impose any more on her. So, but she allowed me to do this. So I'm going on, I'm in recovery.
You did it?
I'm doing meetings. 12-step program. Every night, sat on committees, my boys know, they see me, they have nothing but respect for me.
So let me guess, surrender,
Uh-huh.
entered into 12-step program,
Yes.
changed people.
Places and things.
See,
Yes. Besides the ones I couldn't change.
besides the what you couldn't change.
I had to go back into my same house that I ran a crack house in. We moved back into that.
Hey.
That's number one.
So now you're into recovery,
Mm-hmm.
Clarky with you,
Yes.
the 3 children there,
Yes.
struggling, figuring it out.
Trying to figure it out. Yes. Maneuver.
But you're having experience that God is blessing you.
Yes. Yes.
And you're seeing it, seeing the victory.
Yes.
And
And just enjoy I'll never forget being a mother. It was like blowing my mind. No, seriously, come on, you guys want breakfast? I didn't have that privilege to do it for them when they were younger. It was just the little things that I could do for them that made me, Abe, I'm arrived. This, I can take care of my children. I struggled with unable to take care of my children. I always thought I was a bad person until I found out that the minute I took that first drug, I was no longer in control, so that wasn't me anyway.
Oh, you're going back to this thing. You thought you was a bad.
I always thought I was a bad person because I couldn't take care of my children.
And the way you saw yourself shaped how you behaved.
Yes.
Then you surrendered and experienced.
And I became who God had made me to be.
You saw yourself as God sees.
Yes.
And then you begin to change your behavior. You had to make a change.
Oh, yes. Everything had to change.
Okay.
But some things didn't.
Yeah.
It's a process. Everything changed overnight.
Relapse is a part of recovery.
Yes. Never picked up the drug. Never done none of that anymore. But certain behaviors weren't correct.
Yeah.
Certain walks, certain talks weren't correct. But one thing I prayed for every night when I came out of jail, and every morning I woke up, I got on my knees and I asked God to continuously help me not to use drugs. So I surrendered daily to my drug addiction.
So you surrendered and then you changed places and things, got into 12-step, and then you had a daily surrender.
Daily surrender.
Okay.
Daily surrender when it came to my drug addiction. Daily, because each day I left my house, there it was.
So how do you cut off those people?
I didn't, God didn't send them my way anymore. My house was a drug house. People knocked on my door 24/7. When my husband and I came out of jail, and they knew the foxes were back. They knew the foxes were back in that house, but nobody knocked. And I put that down as God doing for us what we was unable to do for ourselves until we were strong enough. And I owe that to God. And I thank him every day for that, for protecting us when we couldn't protect ourselves from those people, places, and things.
But the devil still was on your heel.
Constantly.
Your sons. What happened?
And then, like I said, I went to viral test programs, and shootings were going on left, right, and center. And I used to always sit in there, and I used to say, you know what? I don't believe, because we talked about everything. And I said, I have no shadow of doubt. I said it not once, not twice, on many occasions. I said, I have no shadow of a doubt that my sons will not die from gun violence because they are covered by my prayers. I'm going to say this again. I sat in that room and I believed in my whole heart that my sons will not die from gun violence because they are covered by my prayers. And because I am a product of prayer, because I had a praying mother, I had a praying mother-in-law, I knew the power of prayer. So my prayer was that they might die, but they would not die from gun violence. Hello. Who are you two? I'm him. Why? Because Rika has been shot. Him and Harley at the shop. Okay. Everything went, I went on the house. I told Sky and Zachary, your brother's been shot. Rika's been shot. We run out to the shop. The ambulance had just taken him. The boys decided to stay in. Come on, let us know. We can't go down there. And I go down there. Me and Miss Otterbury just looking at each other. Highly, it's this her son, neighbors. And then this mayor came in to say, family of Otterbridge. Sorry to say he didn't make it. And so the rest of us are sitting there. Okay, what happened to Robert? And then came just a short man. A short white man, and he says, the family of Robert, right there. And he proceeded to say how he was shot point blank 3 times in his chest. Now, the gentleman before that never went on to say, so I'm thinking there's hope. He said, but he fought hard. And he didn't make it. I don't remember too much after that. But I do remember coming, because we had us in this little room in the old hospital. If you come out of the room, you go this way, it's the elevators and stuff for people going up and down. I remember coming to right there. And that's when I had to get up and go see him. I say, I don't remember too much of that night, but I say all that to say that I never questioned God, boy. I don't know why I never questioned him. I have no idea why. I remember going through the emotions 3 weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks later. I remember jumping up out of my sleep. And that's when I doubted myself as a mother. And I mean, those doubts poured in. What is wrong with you, Nikki? You're not even got to sleep this night. You didn't love him. You're not riddled with, you don't want to take revenge for yourself, your son, because you didn't love him. All types of doubt and beating myself up. And that's when God spoke to me. I heard him so clearly. He said, you asked me of 2 things, a forgiving heart and a peace of mind. I have granted you both. Do not look back. And I remember laying back, asking him, and that's what I said when I was, then I remembered, they said those words right after they told me he didn't make it. I called on God to forgive me, a forgiving heart and a peace of mind, but I had forgotten about it until he reminded me, that's why you are okay right now, because I have it. I've granted you what you've asked. So when I tell you, God gives you what you ask for, if you ask for it genuinely, he gives it to you. He provides it for you. You just got to know how to receive it. See, I had asked for it, and it took me 3 weeks later to receive it. Mm. And he had to remind me. And I was okay with that. And I haven't looked back since. Until 7 years later when my stepson was shot. Then I became angry. And I was angry with God. Me and him was over. I had had enough of you. I had enough of everything. First of all, in 2018, my house was sprayed with bullets. 18 bullets flew through my house. 2020, another 8 came, shot my son, but he survived. 2020, my other son comes back, and he's dead. What do you want from me? No, I'm angry. I was walking in his peace, and I was trying to be in a maintain. Now I'm angry. Now the humanness is coming out of me. And I vented. And I had some choice words for him. But it's a God that understands everything and knows already knows. Because after a while, I couldn't even be angry no more. I heard him say, now you going to fix your crime? I got work to do. Oh my gosh, I can't stay mad with you? No. But I couldn't stay mad with him. And I tried. I even tried to get angry. Tried to be depressed. I couldn't. I said, it's like, now we got work to do.
Nikki, there are people watching this program. Some have tears. Others are shocked and surprised. Some are going through what you're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
Others may end up in where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to them? What would you want to say to those people, to Bermuda, the state of the nation?
There's hope. There's hope. And that's what I had very little of. But until I met Jesus Christ, then and only then did I find hope. And that's therein, where this island's hope is in. It is in Jesus Christ. If you do not put him first, if this country does not go back to a country that loves God, I don't care who's in power. I don't care what programs, procedures, policies you put in place. They will be on quicksand. Jesus is the solid rock. There's hope, and he is the only hope.
Good.
So try him. That's all I could say. It's just try him. If it don't work, you can always go back. If he doesn't work for you, then fine. You have a choice. You have choices. If you have never tried God, try him. Just try him. You ain't even got to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I went to him broken. Most people get in the shower when they're dirty. They don't get in the shower when they're clean.
I like that.
They don't get in the shower when they're clean. So if you want to be clean, you have to go to him dirty. He washes you. He cleanses you. He redeems, restores, and replenishes.
Do you see hope for Bermuda?
I do. Because I believe in, because I believe in God. And as long as I am alive, I give hope for anyone and everything, no matter how far they think they're going. Yes, there's hope. Yes, I refuse to give up on anyone and any situation and any country.
And for those who don't turn back to Jesus, what do you see as the future?
Sadness. Darkness. Hopelessness. Difficult. I remember living and being in such a dark world, feeling so lonely, cold, on a hot day. Nothing in me until I saw a little light. That first day I didn't use, there's a little tiny light. And each day I didn't use, that light got bigger. One day I was drawn towards that light, and that light was Christ.
So the one thing you would say is to do what?
Try God.
Try. So, Nikki, I want to say thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Moving, touching, and revealing experience. I myself have learned a lot. And I cherish the moments that you've sacrificed to share with your country, to open up your heart. You are Bermuda Nikki.
Thank
A
you.
beautiful woman. You made some choices. It got dark, but there was still some light.
Yes. It's always light.
That's wonderful.
There's always light. Like, it's never totally dark. Not when God's in charge. No, he still sits on the throne. And I have to remember that. As long as God sits on the throne, there's still more of us than there are of them.
But we're going to be offering a series, State of the Nation, that's going to address the things we put in our body, the food, the things we have around our body, our families, and the things that keeps our bodies alive. You said it. Your faith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Let me pray with you. Heavenly Father, thank you for doing a miracle. In the world of science, where they don't think miracles exist, thank you for bringing the evidence in a testimony of somebody that tried Jesus when nothing else worked.
Yes.
And she still has hope. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.